All right, well, we're talking to Dennis Bishop, who is taking on the role of director of the Katy Studios motion picture production program.
Right.
Hi, Dennis.
Hello.
And I just discovered from reading your bio on IMDb that you worked on one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, what is that?
Local Hero.
Oh, yeah. That was an amazing experience.
So, what was it like working with Burt Lancaster?
Well, it was amazing. I talked about it a long time. And it's interesting, that was during the time of the TV series Dallas. And I was really tired of Dallas being, shown as just that everyone has a horse in their backyard kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, and I'd worked on for the BBC, it was like Who Shot JR? I worked on it with a friend of mine, my mentor actually. This woman won a contest in England and they brought her over to take her to South Fork and all this stuff, and I was just tired of it. But anyway, so I received the script. David Putnam sent me the script. I read it. I liked it. But when I was talking to the director and all, I realized that they really, he didn't really know Texas. He was from, Glasgow, and he just really was enamored with it, with Texas. And I asked him if it's okay if I simply take you around and show you the true oil man, the true Texas. And the Hyatt Regency had just been built, and the circular bar and all that. They said fine. So we spent 3 or 4 days, and all I did was take them around Dallas and Houston, and we would go into places. I said, look, we'll get kicked out because I don't have permission. If I don't speak, you speak, because the people will be enamored by your accent. So, and they understood that. And the director's accent was so heavy, the Scottish was so heavy, I couldn't understand him for the first 2 or 3 days, and the line producer had to translate, literally. And it only took 2 or 3 days for us to figure out how. We were both speaking English, but we couldn't understand. It was bizarre. It was a lot of fun. So I took them to all these places, and we went, and we'd go like in downtown Dallas on the top, next to the top floor of, I don't know, 38, 40-story building, and we would go in to the next to the top floor, and the elevator doors open. You could see the world. There was nothing on that floor but a reception desk, a receptionist, and a huge spiral staircase. The entire floor was the reception area. And that's in the movie. I mean, you put that in the movie. Yeah. And then I introduced them to this oil man down in Houston who at the time was the chairman of the Monarch Museum down there. And it was, anyway, long story. Every office had an original like Van Gogh, it was unbelievable. And so they got to see what it was really like, what Happer, the character, really would be like, and how eccentric he would be. And he didn't rewrite the script. He just changed, his interpretation of it. Yeah. And it was amazing. It was an amazing experience to be around people like that are so creative and understood, that they didn't get it, and then they sort of figured it out. We shot on the top floor of the building in Houston, 73rd floor or whatever, that brand new building. Again, Hines wouldn't let anybody shoot. Anyway, it was under construction. We built a set on the 60th floor, which is called the Sky Lobby. You go up in the elevator, get off, get on another one. So really high ceilings, and that's what you see. But then, because of Burt Lancaster's schedule, getting back to Burt, he was 14 consecutive days. That's all he gave them. So that meant that they had to shoot his office in Scotland, somewhere, they didn't know where. So we had to go buy, the art department, every single thing you see in his office, we had to buy to ship over to Scotland in order to do the office. Okay. Wow. So anyway, we were on the Sky Lobby of this floor, and we were excited that Burt Lancaster was coming. It was right out, Atlantic City had just, I believe, aired, so it was like, whoa, amazing. And so he shows up. We're in this, we built this setup on the 60th floor, and in the back was craft service, just junk there and stuff. And he comes, and he walks in, and the craft service person was there, and doing her thing. And she was in her probably late 30s, kind of older for that. She wasn't that crew we just put together. It wasn't like a heavy union crew. And Burt came in and just sat down on a bucket, turned the bucket over and sat down and talked to her for like an hour. And she was really worried, thinking, I got to do my job. And I went over and said, don't worry about it, just be here, so we'll take care of it. And they traded stories for at least an hour, and just trading stories.
What a guy.
Unbelievable. And then he was really into golf, and that's one reason he took the role, because he wanted to play golf in Scotland. And he was phenomenal. He was fantastic. And then the whole bit, with Peter Riegert and everybody we brought over, when they came in, they met all the oil men and all these people and understood the characters and the landman. There was the equivalent real life landman that he spent a lot of time with. And so with Burke meeting this very interesting, eccentric oil man that owned this company, much younger than him, but I mean, a lot of it came from them meeting these real people. Whenever we shot in George Bush Sr.'s office at Zapata, which is in Houston, very interesting office. You go in, anyway, it was in a situation, you walk in the office, there were no doorknobs to get out. Mm-hmm. And this is way before computers and all this stuff, and the only way you could get out of his office is he pressed a button and the doors would open.
Wow.
And so you went in there. Anyway, Zapata, or the film that opens, the 16 millimeter film that opens about the oil and when Happer's asleep, that's Zapata's film. And they knew we were making kind of fun of oil guys, et cetera, but they allowed it. And the only thing that Bush's company, the only thing they wanted was for us to have a screening of their film for their employees. That was it. No fee, nothing, no location fees. Wow. So when it came down to do it, have the screening, months later, I got a call from David Putnam saying he couldn't come, and they couldn't come. And I had to then stand in front of 500 or 600 people and represent them. I was terrified. I hadn't done it by that point. Mm-hmm. And I'd never seen the movie. So it was really interesting because, it's a quirky movie.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but it was an unbelievable experience. It took 6 months to get for me to get all the location permits, to get everything where we could shoot in all these places. And one last story. As far as my whole producing, everything I do in producing is based on working with David Putnam, basically. And when we were in Peter Riegert's apartment, set, the day before we started shooting, it was me and the line producer, Ian Smith, and David Putnam. And it was a telephone, and portable phones, cordless phones had just come out, but they had a cordless phone, and if I remember correctly. And David and I and Ian sat there for an hour and a half, talking about whether it should be a cordless phone or a corded phone. It was, this person, does it tie him into his girlfriend, his life, because he goes off and, what would he need? And then it was decided it should be a phone with a cord. Then we spent another 45 minutes discussing how David's going to talk to the director and how would he present it to the director. It's called respect. And that's one thing you don't have often in the film industry. You do more in theater, and then coming up through Horton Foote, is really all about respect. And so I was just amazing, to work with people like that are just there for the artist, there for the belief in the film and belief in the project. So it was an amazing experience. I know it took a long time, but it was an amazing experience.